Fellow Nigerians, I greet you all in the name of God our Creator. I am Raymond Ayer from Cross River State. I am a PhD candidate of international trade in China. The 62nd anniversary of Nigeria's independence, today, October 1, 2022, is a perfect time to reflect on the direction in which we want Nigeria to go, as it is the last independence anniversary before the February 2023 elections, which will usher in a new president. As we recall, the outgoing president's victory back in 2015 was the first time since the return to civilian rule in 1999 that an opposition party, the All Progressives Congress, defeated an incumbent party, the People's Democratic Party. In other words, Nigerians have previously voted out an incumbent party when the status quo became indefensible. In 2023, in our quest for a president whose agenda will improve the quality of life in Nigeria, we must yet again vote against the status quo, represented by former Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the candidates of the APC and PDP, respectively. Put simply, I urge you to support and vote for the candidate of the Labour Party and former Anambra State Governor, 61-year-old Peter Gregory Obi. Indeed, most objective Nigerians would certainly agree that, for various reasons, such as those I am about to discuss, Peter Obi is the man we need as our next president. To begin with, Bola Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar are very corrupt. The source of Tinubu's wealth is so questionable that it comes as no surprise that he has gained various properties from the Lagos State government under the pension plan he signed into law before leaving office in 2007. It is also widely known that Tinubu's grip on Lagos is so strong that it's an understatement to say he's the godfather of the state, with all the financial and other strings attached. Meanwhile, ahead of the 2019 presidential election, Atiku Abubakar publicly bragged that his friends and cronies had every right to benefit from his being in government. That coming from a man who, as vice president, sold several former state-owned companies to those friends and cronies, is as close a direct admission of corruption as you can get. On the other hand, Obi is one of the very few former Nigerian top public office holders who collects no allowances or pension whatsoever from his state government as an ex-governor. And as everyone knows, Obi is renowned for his frugality. No wonder Obi's vice presidential running mate, Yusuf Baba Ahmed, one of the leading proponents of due process, is similarly a fierce anti-corruption campaigner who has stated that public procurement and inflation of contracts have been two of the main sources of corruption in Nigeria. So yes, the fact that Bola Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar are corrupt and unprincipled means they can't lead Nigeria in the direction of great positive change that Nigerians seek and deserve. Mahatma Gandhi, one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century, famously said, one of the 7 deadly sins is politics without principle. Secondly, Atiku Abubakar is 76 years old. Bola Tinubu says he's 70, but he looks, talks, walks, and flips sheets of paper like an 80-year-old or older. This matters because, as President Muhammadu Buhari himself admitted, his advanced age has greatly contributed to his inability to govern effectively. Indeed, a physically or mentally weak president can easily be taken advantage of by those who are close to him and who don't have the best interests of the nation at heart. We saw that with the cabal that surrounded late President Umaru Yar'Adua. We have seen that with President Muhammadu Buhari. Even his wife acknowledged it. Now, the combination of a corrupt Bola Tinubu or an Atiku Abubakar with the liabilities of the advanced age is like the combination of an earthquake with the sea, a tsunami. A tsunami of unchecked corruption, a tsunami of waste of public funds, a tsunami of mismanagement and entitlement, a tsunami of utter bad governance. On the other hand, we have Peter Obi, who recorded great achievements as governor of Anambra State. In education, Obi returned schools to the Christian missionaries in Anambra State and still funded them, which helped to improve the standard of education in the state. Obi bought and distributed 30,000 computers to all the secondary schools in Anambra. He also provided all the schools with generators. Indeed, it was thanks to Obi's legacy on education that 5 girls from Regina Pass's secondary school in Onitsha, Anambra State, representing Nigeria and Africa, won gold at the World Technovation Challenge in the United States in August 2018, defeating teams from China, the US, and other advanced tech countries. Similarly, in March 2019, 4 boys from St. John's Science and Technical College in Idemili South local government area of Anambra State won bronze at the International Festival of Engineering, Science and Technology in Tunisia, also defeating their peers from technologically advanced countries like China, South Korea, Canada, and others. In fact, under Obi's watch, Anambra State moved from the 26th position in terms of national performance in WAEC and NECO to number 1 in just a few years. In healthcare, when Obi became governor, Anambra had no accredited school of nursing, midwifery, or health technology. But by the time he left office, Obi had set up the School of Midwifery, Waterside Onitsha, the ENU School of Nursing, the ENU School of Midwifery, the St. Joseph Adazi School of Nursing, Our Lady of Lourdes School of Midwifery, the Ihiala School of Nursing, and the Amici Hospital School of Nursing. He also built and equipped the Anambra State University Teaching Hospital, OCA, and ensured that it was accredited by the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. In partnership with the John Willow Heart Foundation, Obi set up the first state-owned heart surgery center in all of Southeast and South Nigeria, the Dr. John Willow Heart Center at St. Joseph's Hospital, Adazi. He equally gave grants to missionary health institutions, which greatly helps to boost health care delivery in the state. Again, in terms of security, on April 10, 2014, then Inspector General of Police, Mr. Abubakar Mohammed, stated that, according to police records, Anambra State was Nigeria's safest state in the preceding 5 years under Peter Obi, and that Anambra witnessed no bank robbery in the last 3 years of Obi's administration. IGP Mohammed even encouraged Obi's successor, Willie Obiano, to emulate his performance on security. Talking about financial management, Obi paid out pensions and gratuities owed by the Anambra State government since 1996 and left behind a total of 75 billion naira, part of which his successor said was what he used to build the Anambra airport. In fact, Obi is arguably the only former governor of any Nigerian state who left the state with less debt than when he took office. In the manufacturing sector, today everyone rightly celebrates the strides of Nigeria's first and largest wholly indigenous vehicle manufacturer, headquartered in Nnewi, Anambra State. But not many know that Obi, as Anambra governor, played a key role in the establishment and early growth of the company. On November 16, 2021, Innocent Chukuma, the Innocent chairman, in a media chat said Obi inspired him to manufacture SUVs and pickup vans to meet up with the demand from his administration. Chukuma noted that Obi ordered 500 SUVs, 700 buses, and 500 pickup vans, and that he paid in advance. And all of this greatly boosted the company's fortunes. Chukuma also mentioned that Obi was criticized for these moves with fears that the Innocent vehicles won't be durable. But Obi stood by him and charged him to prove the naysayers wrong. Furthermore, Obi's record on the completion of road infrastructure projects in Anambra State is so impressive that it's impossible to do justice to it in a speech like this one. Suffice it to say that the over 900 kilometers of roads built or rehabilitated by Obi gave Anambra one of the best rural road networks in Nigeria. On the whole, Obi's Human Development Index performance was so impressive that in 2015, he won an award jointly given by the United Nations and the Nigerian presidency, even as a governor of an opposition party, as the best Nigerian governor in the implementation of the Millennium Development Goals. It is not for nothing that Obi has been urging Nigerians to go and verify his record as governor. He knows his record speaks volumes of his proven integrity and capacity as a leader. Obi is also the most competent 2023 presidential candidate in terms of his economic agenda for Nigeria. His message of transforming Nigeria from a consumption-based economy to a production-based economy, which will guarantee increased power supply, lead to job creation and wage growth, drastically cut the cost of governance, and increase government revenue, should absolutely resonate with every well-meaning and patriotic Nigerian. Neither Bola Tinubu nor Atiku Abubakar have presented any compelling and coherent economic agenda. I'm not talking about nicely written manifestos. Anybody can do that. I'm talking about a compelling message, repeated so often by the candidate himself or herself, with supporting facts and factors in the public space, particularly in media interviews, that it gets into people's consciousness and becomes a national agenda. Atiku Abubakar is unable to do that. He has only done one pre-recorded media interview this year. Bola Tinubu is unable to do that. He didn't even show up at recent important public events which were attended by other leading presidential candidates, such as the Nigerian Bar Association's conference on August 22 in Lagos and the signing of the National Peace Accord for the 2023 elections on September 29 in Abuja. His absence at the latter trended "Where is Tinubu?" on Twitter, raising increased concerns for his health. Peter Obi is also the only leading presidential candidate who has consistently emphasized the connection between youth unemployment and insecurity, demonstrating his strong commitment to finding lasting solutions to the menace of insecurity. In terms of specifics, Obi totally supports the idea of state police, which will certainly be more effective at curbing insecurity than the current national police structure, which, as Obi has also frequently noted, is far short of the personnel numbers and funding required to police the entire Nigeria. Obi has equally made clear that, as president, he will invest in technology to beef up security across the country. Regarding national security, Obi is by far the best presidential candidate in 2023, period. After 8 years of a president for northern Nigeria, it is only fair and proper that, given our north-south realities, the next president should come from the south. Indeed, the federal character principle of our constitution demands it. Atiku Abubakar says he's a unifier, but his party, the PDP, is currently seriously divided, mainly because he went against the zoning arrangement in their constitution that ought to have produced a presidential candidate from the south in 2023. Again, after 8 years of a Muslim president, it is only fair and proper that, for the sake of religious inclusivity, the next president should be a Christian. However, in the event where we have a southern Muslim like Bola Tinubu as his party's presidential candidate, it is absolutely important to balance that with a northern Christian as vice presidential running mate. Sadly and non-inclusively, Tinubu picked another Muslim, Kashim Shettima, the former Borno State governor, as his running mate. Truth be told, the North as a whole won't accept a Christian presidential ticket and won't accept a Southern Christian president after 8 years of another Southern Christian president. What is good for the goose is simply and absolutely good for the gander. One reason I opposed President Goodluck Jonathan in 2015 was that his 2011 campaign for president went against the very spirit of zoning. Following the death of President Yar'Adua in 2010, it was only proper and right for the next president to have come from the north. I wrote an article at the time condemning Jonathan for that move and arguing that it helped to fuel Boko Haram. You can Google Raymond Ayer, how Jonathan's zoning breach fueled Boko Haram. So yes, I have the credibility to speak about national unity because I have publicly opposed an incumbent president from my own geopolitical zone, the South-South. And talking about geopolitical zones, wouldn't it be good for national unity to have our next president from the Southeast? Since 1999, we've had 8 years of President Olusegun Obasanjo from the Southwest, 5 years of President Goodluck Jonathan from the South-South, and 8 years of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, also from the Southwest. Wouldn't it be good for national unity if Peter Obi from the Southeast becomes the next president? The IPOP agitation is fueled by sentiments of marginalization in the Southeast. On July 14, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, the leader of the Pan-Yoruba socio-cultural organization Afenifere, while endorsing Obi on Arise TV, said, "If we want peace in Nigeria, if we want equity, if we want justice, if we want to be united, power has gone to the north. Now it should go to the south. Should it come to the region in the south that has had it with Obasanjo's 8 years and Osinbajo's 8 years as vice president? The South has had it with Jonathan. Is the Southeast not part of Nigeria?" Chief Adebanjo is absolutely right. Obi represents a new deal, a new dawn in Nigerian politics. And that's why more and more Nigerians are joining the obedient movement. In a way, they're simply doing as the first two lines of our national anthem instruct us, to obey Nigeria's call. Indeed, across Nigeria, both on social media and in regular life, it is clear that support for Obi is widespread and growing. Over the past few weeks alone, we have seen massively attended obedient rallies in Abuja, in Calabar, in Nasarawa, in Ilorin, in Port Harcourt, in Kano, in Asaba, in Auchi, in Enugu, in Ibadan, in Akure, in Jos, and elsewhere. And many more are still to come all over the country. Also, a poll conducted in early September by NOI Polls, Nigeria's foremost political polling organization, found that if the election were held now, Obi will win with over 21% of respondent support, whereas 13% each preferred Bola Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar. If you think Obi doesn't have a chance, consider this. In 2011, a similar poll by the same NOI polls found that Goodluck Jonathan would win, and he won. Same thing happened in 2015 and 2019 regarding President Muhammadu Buhari. So yes, NOI polls has a reputation for correctly reading the mood of the nation. And as their recent poll shows, Obi is clearly the people's choice. Also on September 28, Bloomberg published the results of a poll conducted on its behalf, which surveyed nearly 4,000 Nigerians of various backgrounds over 2 weeks, and found that 72% of decided voters and 45% of undecided voters favor Obi. Tinubu came second, a distant second, with 16% and 23%, while Atiku scored 9% and 17% respectively. President William Ruto of Kenya won the 2022 Kenyan presidential election against a veteran politician, Raila Odinga, from a similar position of initially perceived weakness. In fact, that was the 5th time the 77-year-old Raila Odinga had run for president of Kenya, just like his age-mate Atiku Abubakar will make his 5th run for president of Nigeria in 2023. Similarly, while 2022 was Ruto's first attempt at the Kenyan presidency, 2023 will be Obi's first attempt at the Nigerian presidency. The sun, they say, rises from the east and sets in the west. Kenya, East Africa's largest economy, has shown the way. Nigeria, West Africa's largest economy, should follow suit. Fellow Nigerians, in 2023, we must take Nigeria in the right direction by voting for Peter Obi. We must retire the corrupt and old guard led by Bola Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar. As a future president of Nigeria, I definitely want Peter Obi as one of my predecessors because, of course, it will be much easier to build on a solid foundation than on a shaky foundation. One of the world's foremost leadership writers, John Maxwell, famously said, "Everything rises and falls on leadership." For Nigeria to rise, we must get our leadership right, and that begins with electing Peter Obi as our president in 2023. Thank you for your kind attention. God bless you and your family. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.